So today's drum cover is Back to Friends by Sombr. But before I play it for you, I want to tell you a little something about this one. All right, so here's the thing. I went to do this drum cover maybe 2 months ago, and I hated it. It just didn't sound good. It didn't feel good. Did not like it at all. This week, kind of love it. So I want to tell you about the 3 things that I worked on this week as I worked on this tune, and why they changed the way that I felt about the song. And at the end, I want to talk about sort of the commonality between the 3 of them, and sort of maybe something surprising about what changed the way I feel about the song. And of course, as always, I've got the recording of the full drum cover. It's at the end of the video, so stick around to check that out. If you're really impatient, feel free to skip ahead. You'll only hurt my feelings this much. All right, so thing number 1 was sort of an aha moment for me. I was watching something on YouTube recently, and for the life of me, I can't remember what it was, so I wish I could give credit. But it was a studio drummer, and he was talking about going into the studio and how for a lot of pop music, the goal is not to get live sounding drums, but to actually get something that doesn't sound like live drums. Little unintuitive for sure, but it was kind of an aha for me. I feel like I've got a pretty good dialed in rock, country, live drum sound, and that is just not the right sound for this track. Thing number 1, totally changed the way that I approached the tuning and the recording of the drums. So you'll notice a lot of tape on the drums, really trying to damp them, trying to get that snare drum sound that goes instead of crack. That helped a ton. That sound normally is not what I want. Normally it falls too far back in the track. It doesn't cut through, but that's actually the right sound for this song. So got that dialed in, made a huge difference, liked a lot better, which led to thing number 2. Thing number 2 is I went and listened to the original recording, and there's sort of this tambourine part on it. And I realized that that was providing a lot of the drive. So I went and recorded a tambourine part, but realized it was not quite tight enough for the song. So I quantized it, which for those of you who don't know, just means I used the computer to make sure that the time was perfect and every tambourine note landed perfectly on the grid. And then I messed up the crap out of it. So I distorted the thing. I put a ton of compression on it, and just really got something that doesn't sound, I mean, you can tell it's a tambourine, but it's not a tambourine, right? So check this out. Here's a little snippet of the song. And then here's just the drums. And then here's just the tambourine. Really cool, super gritty sound. Yeah, loved the way that came out, and the feel and the vibe that it brought to the tune. Brought a ton of forward momentum and intensity to the song. That led to thing number 3 this week, which was once I had the tambourine quantized and went to play with it and listen back, I realized my drums were kind of in front of the beat. They were flamming, if you will, to the tambourine. And I realized part of the reason it didn't feel good is when you listen to the song, it's the recording, there's a ton of reverb on it. It's very open. And so I was trying to interject some energy by really leaning on the tempo, not subconsciously, not intentionally. And what I found was that when I locked in with the tambourine and played as much on the grid as possible, it actually added more energy than when I was trying to lean into the beat or play on the front end of it. And so that was a real challenge. If you've ever tried to change where you play on the beat naturally, it is brutal. I tend to play a little bit on top, and this was quite the challenge. I've talked about it in a bunch of other videos and working on these types of things. So listen in the recording of this song, because I left the tambourine volume a little higher probably in the track than I would if I were actually mixing it. But I did it on purpose because you can hear places where I'm fighting with it. And I think it's a really interesting lesson on sort of hearing how it sounds when I'm a little bit ahead of it, and how it's not tight and it doesn't have the energy, and how when things lock up, it just sounds and feels much better. Did you pick up on the theme yet? If you think about all these things, the interesting part of them is the thing that took this song from not liking it, really hating it, to loving it has nothing to do with what I was playing. And I hate to be that guy and be like, yeah, chops are dumb. Listen, I love chops. I work on chops all the time. If you watch my videos, there's plenty of things where I'm doing my best to drop some chops. But for this song, chops, not the thing. It's all about the sound, which led to the feel. Getting those things dialed in took this song from just hating playing it to really loving it, led to me playing less because it just sounded good, and playing more made it less fun to play and sound less good. Hate to be that guy, but it turns out there's something to this. Sometimes less is more. Those were the 3 things that I was thinking about as I worked on this tune this week. Check it out. Listen for the things I talked about. Leave a comment if you hear anything different or if you feel differently, and let me know what you think.